Hey, hey, hey. Hey, okay. Out to the paper, the grass is always greener. I don't do no labels, I call it how I see it. Okay, out to the paper, the grass is always greener. I don't do no labels, I call it how I see it.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of No Label, the podcast. Here, my boy Mel.
Yo.
Special shout outs to everybody that's been subscribing on YouTube as normal, liking on Instagram, comments and sharing. Facebook, TikTok, X. Go over and head over to nolabelpod.com.
Where you can subscribe to our newsletter, keep up with everything No Label Pod. Been knocking out a lot of podcasts lately, so keep up with them. Turn on the notifications on YouTube, or you can subscribe to our newsletter. Keep you up with everything No Label Pod, exclusive deals, exclusive content, and we love to hear from you. Today we sitting down with one of the veterans in the party scene. You know what I'm saying? From Buffalo, New York. I've heard about. I'm sure you've heard about the all-white parties on Miami Nights. Easily, that's kind of like the top of the year. You know what I'm saying? Everybody sets the tone off right. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's clean, upscaled, never any issues. He was at Templeton Landing around, was it there?
It was at one point. It's at Riverworks now.
Okay, bro. Yeah. Up and up. You know what I'm saying? Up and up. And we here with Dennis from OAKK HAUS, man. How are you?
Man, I can't complain, man. Glad to be here, man. Appreciate it.
No doubt. We're glad to have you.
Definitely.
Hell yeah. So, we always like to get start from the base.
Mm-hmm.
Born and raised in Buffalo?
Yes.
Where? What high school did you go to?
So I went to Turner Carroll, TC Pride for 3 years, and then I transferred over to Riverside. At the end of my junior year, started to my senior year. I played basketball, both schools, and then I went on to Canisius College, played basketball for Canisius for a couple of years before I graduated, and entered a life of education and entrepreneurship. So that's kind of the back end of it.
Well, no, absolutely. When you hear Turner Carroll, it's hoopers.
Yeah. TC Pride, man. That's what we kind of pride ourselves on, being able to play ball. Actually, all sports. Mm-hmm. When Turner Carroll was in its heyday, man, football was always popping. Basketball, you know what it was. Our basketball games was they were like the events now, man. We had them Friday night games that you could kind of see on TV. So it was definitely dope. It was definitely that thing. So I'm glad I got an opportunity to experience that.
No, for sure.
Who was y'all coach?
Fadri.
Yeah.
Fadri Ansari was my coach.
He the reason I went to Check.
Oh, for real?
I wanted to play for him, but he ended up going above state.
Yep.
His son coached us at Check.
Wow. So now coach is son. So yep. So definitely, man. And obviously, I don't know if you know, I'm a teacher at McKinley, and his son coaches the JV team. So
what subject?
I teach print and graphic design. So my backend is graphic design and print. Been doing that for as long as I've been in the practice, so 20-something years. At one point, when I was had a good share of the market around here in Western New York, but I do it all across the world actually. So that's the beauty of technology, man. From your laptop, you can touch every part of the world. And I have been lucky enough to touch most of the world, even though I haven't physically been to a lot of these places. But it's definitely dope just being able to have clients all across the country and connections across the country.
Did basketball help you expand that international appeal, or?
Absolutely, yes. So when I played at Canisius, and obviously Canisius is Division I, I walked on, so I had to go the higher route. But I got exposed to a lot of the things that, coming from the hood, you're not exposed to. Nice restaurants, protocol as far as traveling. When we traveled, we had to wear shirts and ties for the most part. So, and it was to make yourself more presentable when people see you, so they don't judge you when they see you, especially being Black males. So that kind of opened my horizons, and then I got a chance to go places I would never go. And so then once you start traveling, you be like, okay, you see things differently than the hood. Mm-hmm. And once you do that, man, I don't know about y'all, but once you start traveling, you open. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So from there, we just, you want to be able to expand and doing graphics, you do graphics for your friends, and then your friends, they tell somebody else you do it, and before you know it, I'm doing stuff for some of the bills, and then, they get traded, and that thing, I'm doing stuff in other cities.
Yeah.
And then I got friends. I got my guy Garnet. He's a promoter, Star 23, out of New York City, but he does all the major festivals around the country, whether it's the Magic City Classic in I think that's Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. Those is black school type things. HSBCUs, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say black school, but but he does those. He does what's the one in Charlotte's in Baltimore now? CIAA. He does Essence Fest. He did Caravan. So he does all these different festivals, and I do all his events or flyers for those events. So my work is getting done, and it's been the last 10, 15 years. And that's just one client, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
So that's graphic design, man.
Yeah.
Did you go to school for graphic design?
Yes and no. So I went to Canisius and I did communications, kind of focused in the media, kind of in this space before this space. So, the video stuff, which I used to really love doing. But then I basically trained myself to do graphics. So I would sit in the computer lab every Sunday. For 4 years, every Sunday, I go to the computer lab from 3 p.m. to midnight in there. And this is when you had scanners. So you got to go through the magazines, the vibes. You see the girl picture, oh, is she nice? You scan the picture, and you put it on the flyer or whatever. So I did that, and I got better and better. And it was funny because I went to the library because the girls was there. So it was like I was going there cooling, but I was still learning in the process. So after that 4 years, after I graduated, couldn't use the equipment no more. So I got started on my own and kind of went from there. And that's where we started the parties too. So.
Did you have like an artistic or creative side like growing up when you were younger? Because I know you said like you played basketball, you were focused on sports. Did you also have that side to you growing up, or did you like develop that?
Yes and no. I can't draw, which is but I used to draw. I wasn't the greatest. My cousins, and we got a big family. My grandmother had 10 kids, so we got a lot of cousins. We were all close, and some of them are very artistic as far as drawing and stuff. So, and then we was all creative back then. Then you didn't have all this technology, so we had to create our own fun and our own visions. And then when you playing ball, you already envision yourself being certain. I was an Isaiah Thomas fan, so I'm creating things. So everything was about creativity when you talk about sports and all that type of stuff. So they kind of went hand in hand, and then I honestly got lucky. So I left Turner Carroll because tuition. So basically got kicked out. Mother couldn't pay tuition. And I went to Riverside. And so Riverside, my senior year, they had a class called English 5. And when I left Turner, this was crazy because we're talking some years back, but nothing has changed. I was so far advanced than most of the students when I got to Riverside. So they had to put me in special classes. It was only like 10% of these students that was already in these classes, but they had to automatically put me in this because I was so far ahead of other students. Yeah. And one of them was English 5, and that was basically a yearbook class. And I learned how to use Adobe PageMaker. And once I seen that, I was just open. And I just started teaching myself and kind of going from there.
Yeah, and that's one thing about Buffalo. We always had incredible talent, but they never necessarily had the credits or the skill set to go to college and play D1 just do the grades.
I think too, the tradition. The tradition wasn't always there. Most of the guys who played ball didn't have the grades, or they did something, or is in the streets or something. So they didn't go to that next level. So somebody else can see somebody else went to that level. Because a lot of times, man, for me, when I went to grad school, I got my master's. One of the reasons why I went to grad school is because I was sitting at home, I was working security, and I had a bachelor's degree. I'm like, oh, this is stupid. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I'm a toy cop. Like, what is this? And so, and one of the reasons why I went is because it was a girl who I knew that I liked, that was cool, I was very cool with, and she was knocking out school like this. And so I've seen her doing it, and I'm just like, okay, I can do it. You know what I mean? So you need some type of examples for you to, go to the next level at times. And I feel like sometimes here we just didn't have enough of those because, I don't know, it's just a blue collar time.
For sure. I definitely got back in school. I was dating a girl. She's in school. She get 4.0. She ain't buying no book. She ain't. I'm like, how are you doing this? I'm like, but she showed me an easy little blueprint to get grades and not have
and still have fun.
Yeah. I was like, okay. I was like, show me the way.
A lot of us had to grow up in church. why did you go to church every week? Because there was some girls in church, you know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, like, okay, my mother gonna make me go. I gotta go figure out how I'm gonna have fun and enjoy myself. So, you know what I mean? So and I'm not saying it's always girls. It can be somebody else. Like my cousins are, I don't say I was kind of the youngest out of our clique of cousins, but they are educated. So it was like, okay, you can't be dumb, like, you know, around these guys. Like they rip a lot, so you talk about you. So if you fail, you're going to get dogged the rest of your life. You know what I mean? So it was always kind of a competitiveness of knocking out school and being able to do everything else. So
absolutely, no, you can never underestimate like that motivation to get ribbed on and the women. You know?
And you'll be surprised. Turner Carroll was like that too. Like it was competitive as ball, but they looked at you like, yo, you're dumb. Like, you can't be stupid. Like, you can't be not getting your grade, not knocking your test out. Like, you know what I mean? And that you couldn't have, you had to have lunch money. Like, you was poor, you didn't have lunch money. So it was a competition amongst the guys that I was around. And so that always pushed you to be better.
Absolutely.
Do you think, like, the things you learned in your bachelor's program as well as going to get your master's, have you been able to, like, apply that in your career space now? Because I know a lot of people, when they go to college, the things that they go to school for, that they learn in college, they can't really apply it to the real world, what their career path is at the moment.
For me, I got lucky and a half. So I got my bachelor's, my bachelor's in communications. I own a graphic design company. I own a production company. Obviously, event space that I do, the events and everything. So I'm in this field, even though I'm not in this particular field. Mm-hmm. I do that professionally. I've been doing it professionally for over 20 years. My master's is in education, which is a history minor, and now printing certification. So I do that professionally. I've been a teacher for 26 years. So I have been able to merge both of those and do them successfully. So I got the best of both worlds. I'm an employee, but at the same time, I'm an entrepreneur and my own boss. So every 2 weeks, I'll know I'm getting a check. And then over here, you know, some days is good, some days is bad. So I got a chance to merge both of them.
That's the way to do it. Like, my mom was an entrepreneur herself. Mm-hmm. And then she used her job to fund entrepreneur goals. And that's the best way to do it. A lot of artists they struggle with that. They struggle with, okay, I want to put my art out to the world, but we can't. They don't want to work for 9 to 5. It's like, you got to have something to fund it.
My thing is, you always work for somebody. Even if you're an entrepreneur, like, obviously I own the Oakk House, I owned the Oakk Room for 14 years. Yes, we owned the business, but the business was only dictated by the customers. Mm-hmm. So they are our bosses. So you always working for somebody. I think the illusion is I can be my own boss. I can get up when I want to and do what I want to, but you're always on somebody else's schedule. I don't care what it is. So if you kind of get that mindset, like, okay, you know, in business, you have to make your customer happy. You know, if you don't, you will not be in business long. So you're always in there. And two, in business, you work harder than you do 9 to 5. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
it don't feel like it though, because you're doing something that you're passionate about, actually want to do.
True.
Versus going in and clocking in somewhere to where it's like, I'm only doing this because I need a check.
True. But then it's the ups and downs of business too. The emotional toll it takes on you, because some days are great. The other days you're like, man, I'm sick of this. You know what I mean? Like, it goes both ways, you know. At least with the job, you can kind of, today I don't feel like doing that, but I'm still getting paid. I'm sick, you know, I'm tired, I can call in. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, like, you know, if you're a hairstylist, you can't call in. If you call in, you missed everybody that day. You know what I mean? So it's a gift and a curse, but it's, you know, that's part of life, man. It's part of the journey, man. Part of the chasing. I love it.
That's a beautiful thing. So you started when did you start doing parties, and what was like the first event?
So the first party I did, I was telling my age, was in 1999. All right, it was a high school party, and it was crazy because I thought, you know, you throw these parties, you make money, man. I made $76. I remember it to this day. And I'm like, wow, okay, well, you know what I mean, like, whatever. And then I had stopped for a while. My cousins kind of got into it, and then we started doing the high school parties in the early 2000s or whatever. So we did it as a team or whatever. That kind of exhausted itself. And then a friend of mine had some real estate, him and his family. And he had his place, and they was just sitting on it for like 4 or 5 years. I'm like, bro, let me get this. Let me lock this in. Let me lock this up. So he just gave me the keys and like, do what you want to do. And I basically created a banquet hall. At the time, it was called 550 Banquet Hall, so I'm sure they've seen. And so I created a banquet hall, but then I did my own parties, and I started my own upscale parties. And then we started doing some trips We did bus trips. We did the 40/40 Club. I know they just did the Fanatics with the 40/40 Club, but we was part of the first group that went to the 40/40 Club in New York City. We did a bus trip to, bless you, we went for my birthday. I wanted to do my birthday to 40/40 Club. And that's how me and Kurt, my partner at the Oakland got tight. I called him first. I'm like, yo, I'm doing this trip. It's, I think it was 180. He like, sign me up. All right, locked in. And we've been tight ever since. And then we got our groove. Then we did the next one, Atlantic City 40/40 Club. I remember walking the club, it was like 120 of us. And you know, you walk in the club with 120 behind you, people looking at you like, who is you? Yeah. I'm still broke, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I looked like somebody right at that time. So that was kind of exhilarating. And we kind of did that. We did the bus trips. I was doing the upscale parties, and then 2009 is when it really cracked off for me. That's when everything just took off and everything changed.
Right. So from the start, you said you got that quick 75. What were some of the things that you implemented to increase your margins?
So it was a lot of losses in there. I don't know if I know y'all probably younger, but making the band, obviously Diddy stuff came out today or whatever. But the making of the band, when he had the band, when he created that group. So right after that group was hot. So I remember we brought the guy Chopper to Buffalo. So I thought, cool. I took my little income tax money, put it in. It was about 5, 10 of us. I don't know how many. It was a whole bunch of us. We put our little money in there. I didn't have money to lose. Man, I lost everything. Man, I'm thinking you bring in celebrity and stuff, everybody's pocket. Nah, man, wasn't nobody in this joint. And this was like, I think the time, probably was like $5 or whatever. We charged 20. That joint was ghost town. He performed about 30 people or whatever. He was cool and everything, but it just taught me, like, you can't just put a name on a flyer and go. So it was the ups and downs of it. And so then what happened is I started doing graphics for all the nightclubs. So this is when we had nightclubs. We had a lot of going out stuff. So I started doing I did the Sensations. I was doing virtuals at the time. It was a club called The Basement downtown. So I was in the back room. Yeah, you wouldn't even know where it's at.
I'm trying to think, because I'm thinking that there used to be a stage called Sound Lab.
Yeah, that was downtown?
That was Sound Lab was close to downtown.
Yeah, I remember it, but I don't never remember going in there.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was maybe Basement before.
No, Basement was on, you know where, what's that right now? It actually just closed. It's right behind Soho. It's that club.
Like Mess?
Yeah.
Mess?
I don't think, it might have been either Mess or it might have been next door. I can't remember.
Okay.
But it was there. But it was popping at that time. It was mid-2000s. So I was doing all that graphics. So I was in the back room. And so when you're in the back room, you get a chance to understand what's going on, where you're spending the money at, what they don't want to spend the money on, security, everything. So I'm doing the graphics, but I'm getting all this information. I'm in the club in the back room of Sensations. So I'm seeing a lot of stuff. So when it was time for my events, I was able to implement the things that I wanted to do. And my main thing was dress up too. And from there, just kind of, I had already had a following because of graphics, because I did a lot of people's graphics. And I played ball. And a long time ago, but we used to do music too. So so you merge all those things and then you got a talent, it just kind of worked. And then from there, just kind of got going.
That's the move.
You produced, you was an artist?
Yeah, so we used to rap. So we had our little kind of family group. We actually won a couple of awards and everything. It was pretty decent, but we were broke. And so to me in that industry, you have to have money. So like, you have to be able to travel. And I felt like our talents, for me, I quit because I started teaching and music was too negative for me. You know what I mean? You being around kids and I'm seeing the kids following the music and I'm just like, this is kind of conflict. And two, I felt my true gift was in the graphic design space. So I just went into my space. So you figure out what's your niche, and I found my niche. And my niche for that entertainment business was the graphic design, then eventually the event promotions.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to like actually find your niche? Because you said you like kind of went through a couple different phases within the entertainment industry before you figure out what your niche was. And a lot of people is like, they don't want to quit something because they feel like if they quit, then it's like you put in all this work for no reason. So what was it that made you figure out like, nah, this is the thing that I actually should be focused on?
That was the one. I'm sorry. That was the one I was making a couple dollars on. You know what I mean? in hindsight, I wish, and this is, you know, you growing up in the hood, so you throw a lot of stuff against the wall and try to figure out what worked. The one thing that I say about me that I wish I could have did over is I wish I would have concentrated on one discipline. What if it would have been basketball, if it would have been graphic design. I felt like, and my daughter is going through this now, where she's great at a lot of different things, but you can't concentrate on one. And the big thing is if you can concentrate on one, master it, you will make a whole bunch of money, and then you can do the other stuff. And I kind of did it the opposite way, where I was good at graphics, I was good at ball, I was good at creating events, I was good at teacher, and now I'm doing all these, but I'm not doing anything 100%. And so I was never able to really, even to this day, I still haven't been able to just say I'm gonna do this one thing and master it. I mastered some things, but just give it all my attention and give it everything. So I've just been blessed to be able to be good at multiple things. But
I feel that.
Yeah. Actually, so what would you tell your, let's say, your 21-year-old self? Which one would you tell them?
Pick one.
Which one would you pick?
So graphic design and events, and that'd be the hard part. So I would probably pick graphic design, but I still would do the events. But maybe like I probably wouldn't have taught. Like I probably would have quit teaching if I didn't have a kid. My daughter, she was born, I got my master's and she was born 3 weeks before I got my master's. I was substitute teaching, then I started teaching, and then, you know, healthcare, like, you know, and then they moved when she was 4. And so, but she was always under my healthcare. So at the time, teaching, you got free healthcare. So you can't just quit a job with free healthcare, you know what I mean? And I was teaching history and I hated it. But at the same time, man, like, it gave me a decent salary. And healthcare is, people don't understand, like, especially when you're young, you just take it for granted. But in 2000, I broke my leg playing basketball. And that really changed my whole life because I didn't have health insurance. And so it put me in debt for like almost 7 to 8 years. Yeah, and so it ended my basketball career. It put me in debt for almost 7 to 10 years. And then I had a kid right after. You know what I mean? So it was a spiral that I could have went downwards, but, you know, a lot of it had to do with healthcare. So once my leg healed, I couldn't go to physical therapy because I couldn't afford it. You know what I mean? At the time, my car was a stick shift. I couldn't even drive a car for 3 months. You know what I mean? So literally that time of my life, everything kind of just went down. And you know, you got to catch yourself, but you know, it is what it is. But that's the problem, you know. So
yeah, health is the wealth.
Yeah,
health is definitely wealth. So when did you start doing Miami Nights?
2010 was the first year. So I told you 2009 was my year that just things. At that time, I started. It was a club, bar called The Good Life that opened. A friend of mine, Eric, opened it, and I was cool with Freddie J. I don't know if y'all remember Freddie J. He had the food. He had the food on Grant Street, but Fred used to be the manager of Birchfield's and Sensations, the nightclub. So that me and him started being good friends, and so he would always help me get venues and stuff. And then when Good Life opened, it was a very nice establishment. It was small, you know, probably 200 people, whatever, I think 200. But I was the first one doing parties there, and the parties went crazy. It was lines down the street and I would do it once a month. And they just popped. It was called the Upscale Fair, and so I had like a 9-10 month run where it just was bananas. And this is the first time where I ain't had to look at my check. You know what I mean? I'm like, when we get paid? Like, we at work, and, you know, people looking at me like, fuck you, like, you know what I mean? But this is the first time in life I ever felt that I could. And before, you know, you from the hood, things don't always go your way. Nothing win, and I didn't feel like I could win. And that was the first time I thought I could win. And so now that first time I was winning. So then I did some parties in Charlotte. They popped. You know what I mean? So I was just on a run, and then the following year, I think it was like, okay, we're gonna do a white party. So at the time, Nathia was my photographer or whatever, and he was like, yo, I got to hook up with the helicopter. So we went up to Niagara Falls, did the photo shoot with the helicopter, went up in the air and everything, and we just started incorporating, and that was like the bad boy thing or whatever. And we kind of just started going from there. And that first year, I think I did it with Kurt and another guy, and then after that, I just did it myself. And it's year 2 went down. So year 1 was popping, year 2 went down. It was like some other events that year, and a lot of times that's when people quit. And okay, I ain't making too much money, whatever. And this time I'm not making a lot of money. I'm making $1,000, $2,000. It was not a lot of money. But then the third year we went to Blush. Blush had opened up in Delaware, and it kind of went back up. And then went to Templeton Landing for a couple years. Then I got kicked out of there too. Then we went to Riverworks, and then it just went bananas.
Love that. Nah, that's dope because you've been providing like upscale and like high class events for the past like 15 years.
Yeah.
A lot of the issues here in Buffalo is like we complain about there not being enough spaces, but it's like some black people they be doing a lot at some of these.
My thing is you gotta create it, man. Like I created my atmosphere. When I was in high school, we had the high school parties, but it was always fighting and stuff. I'm just like, that wasn't my vibe. Like, I don't dance. I'm a dude who give me a drink and sit at the bar. We're gonna laugh, we're gonna joke, we're gonna see people, hug them, laugh. That was me. Just be cool with me and my cousins, just cool. And so that was my vibe. And so I didn't want to be around I don't want to be worried about getting shot and stuff like that. It just wasn't me. I was never a street. I grew up in the streets neighborhood, but they knew, he played ball. He's smart at school. Leave him alone. Like, and they, the gangsters, they protected you. You know what I mean? Now the code is different now. Like people don't pay attention. They don't really care. Like they don't care what you got going on.
The streets is very, very different. It's digital. It's
different, man. Everybody want to be somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I don't worry about. Like I watch the people from other cities. Man, Junior Jones in Toronto, he top lawyer in Toronto. Mike Gardner in Miami, who lives like he probably #1 in the country. Those are the people I'm looking at. The guy, I forgot his name, Larry Morrow in New Orleans. These are the people I'm looking at, and I don't want to be them. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I watch what they do, and I like it, and then I try to follow it. But I don't worry about what somebody else is doing and how much money somebody else has. And but a lot of people want to be somebody else. They want somebody else's life, and they don't care what to do to get to it, and it's crazy.
Yeah, nah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, and I think the thing that you did that kind of made that shift was you decided to get your own spot. Take the Oakk House and make it somewhere that we can enjoy ourselves and have some upscale entertainment and socialize for real.
Definitely. It started with the Oakk Room. Like we had a 14-year run. We just closed the Oakk Room. But the whole thing is, okay, my thing is you do parties. And I'm not throwing shots at party promoters, but I'm throwing shots at you. We got to step it up. If you're doing parties, what's next? You know what I mean? The next is, okay, we're doing these, but now you got to have some type of ownership. And then from there, it's just like every year you should be getting better with your life in general. And that's everybody on it. You know what I mean? Every year you should be trying to make a little bit more money, get a little bit more intelligent, a little bit smarter, educate yourself more. So every year I can see in my life that I have gotten gradually better every year. Like this year, I'm gonna make more money than I ever made, period, in a year. Because every year I'm working on getting better. Part of that is getting married. Like, you gotta find your partner. My partner, my wife, is the same thing. She holds me accountable and vice versa. She's a go-getter. So, now you add 2 incomes to whatever you're doing. And now y'all all building. And you're building for the family too. So the whole goal is, to get better and better and better. Not be stagnant. Some people get, when you first the promoter, you start getting the girls, and now boys, kind of get caught up in that. Yeah, you get caught up in that. But that's not life. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, man, life is about family. It's about quality of life. You know what I mean? Can you travel? Can you enjoy yourself? Can you take care of your kids? Can give your kids better opportunities to be successful? And so, to me, if you keep those things in mind, you can still have fun. I'm not saying don't have fun and enjoy yourself, but at the same time, every year get better. And part of that is ownership and creating a legacy.
Absolutely.
When did you develop that mindset?
Early, I always wanted to, do something and be somebody. Like, I'm a self-motivator. I don't need somebody outside. And you do need the battery in your back. Don't get me wrong. You need somebody pushing you and say you're doing well or whatever. Because there's been some times I'm like, man, I don't want to do this no more. And I remember a couple years ago, even the white party, I was like, man, I think we had a little couple, maybe an argument or two. I'm just like, I don't feel like dealing with these ninjas. You know what I mean? Like this is, man. And I was wound up talking to Eric Ross from my living beat, and he was telling me, man, like, bro, you got the blueprint, man. And he never been to the event, but he is a great businessman. Mm-hmm. So when you get a chance to talk to another great business person and they get their perspective, I'm like, damn, I do got something. All right, let me reevaluate. And so that's why you need to be around people who are constantly pushing you or giving you different ideas and different things out of your perspective, so you can kind of keep growing. So
Absolutely.
Do you think that mindset derived from like maybe any inspirations growing up, or is it just something that you just
some internal, like not having, like I remember, for me, like I remember coming home one day and the lights went off, and I'm like, like it was almost a day where I was inviting my friends to come play video games. Unfortunately, I didn't, but I would have been embarrassed if they came in and the lights was off. And a couple of days, my mom got it back on or whatever. But to me, I just didn't want to be in those positions when I was then I wasn't in control. After you become an adult, I'm in control of my household. You know what I mean? So I don't want those things. So now, I created a life where I don't at least worry about utility bills and stuff. You worry about hiring stuff, but I don't worry about the lights. I don't worry about the gas or the whatever else. You know what I mean? I don't worry about the insurance bill. Like, I don't want to go back to that life. And you have to work. And then obviously I don't want to hustle because I don't want to get shot. You know what I mean? So, you got to do what you're supposed to do. And fortunately I got into education and teaching, and that gave me a good base and a good salary, and then it allowed me time to do all the other stuff. We off weekends, holidays, and summers.
For sure.
That's why I'm able to sit here now.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm in education.
Okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
I've been doing that for about 30 years. Three officially.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 10 years.
It's good on the other side. Like the first couple of years kind of be rough. You're like, I don't like it, especially when you're creative. But now I'm on the other end of it, the back half, and I can see the end. And now I'm preparing for retirement because I'm gonna have a pension, and the pension is gonna be to the good. And so now anything else I do is just throwing it on top of the pension. So now I'm in a better position in life because I made that sacrifice those years when I don't want to do this, you know what I mean? But I did it.
For sure. So with the Oakk House, where's it located?
414 Pearl Street is downtown. It's on the corner of Pearl and Chippewa. So we right in the Harvard Chippewa district. New nightclub. It's basically been open a month. And it's going well, man. The grand opening was crazy. And then, now we kind of establishing what we are. Like, I think the one thing about Buffalo in general is anything new is hard. Mm-hmm. It's hard to establish anything new, because people are just kind of caught in their ways or just doing the same thing. So when you introduce something new, you have to be prepared for it to take a while to grow on people. Because once they find their spots, they're going. Once you find your barber, you're going to your barber. Once you find your favorite restaurant, that's your default. And so we in the process of trying to make it people's default. But two, we trying to still raise the level. Like I said, I travel a lot. We get a chance to go to different places and clubs and different experiences. So we try to bring some of those experiences to us. And so we'll have those. And, you can complain about stuff all day. And you go online, I'm guaranteed you can see a whole bunch of complaints right now. I'm one of the people I'm going to go do it. Especially if it's in my mind. So if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. But my success rate's pretty good right now.
You can complain all day. You're going to do something.
Yeah.
You're going to switch it up. How you going to do it? Get the change you want to see.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Was it difficult, acquiring that space? Did you look at other locations?
So what happened was last summer, we were. I was just talking to DJ Coach, and he's good friends with a person who got a club or whatever. And I'm like, yo, you think they at least they club? And this is a dope situation. He was like, nah, I see it. We had everything. It wanted to be in one of the dopest situations. I'm like, okay, this is it. Like, I'm about to be a millionaire. This is it. I got it. We got it. And we got to basically the table. We kind of worked out some lease deals and hashed out some deals. They was like, you know what, it's still going to be contingent on his other owner because he wanted to sell the building. And they wanted to sell the building before we was able to get into this spot. And I'm just like, I was crushed. And so.
Same location?
No, way, totally different. I mean, next level stuff. And I'm just like, man, I was hurt. I was just like, man, we'll never get this opportunity again. And then maybe a couple months later, Kurt came back and talked to somebody. He's like, yo, they said we should do this. These are millionaires advising us. You should do this. There's a lot of money in this. And, Main Street is dead right now. So, where the Oakk Room was at, it's kind of dying. So it's like a hard pull to get people to come. So, you know what? Let's try it. And so there's a couple options. caught down there, and it was a good situation. So we kind of took advantage of it, and now we in there, and we're gonna see what we can do.
Absolutely.
Was there any hesitancy about the particular spot the Oakk House is in now because of just the past history of?
Not for us, because we built up for the last my whole career, man. We've been building up relationships. So a lot of the politicians, especially the African American politicians I'm friends with, these are people I kind of grew up with in some form or fashion. I've done stuff for, vice versa, especially doing it in the graphic space. I've done graphics for some of everybody, you know what I mean? So these are people that I've been to their house, so I didn't have as many reservations as somebody who did. And then too, I got a knowledge of what I want and what I don't want. Like my track record, I don't want to be around nonsense. I don't want to be around craziness. Like in my clubs or in my events, I want y'all to have fun. I want the guys to meet the girls meet the guys want to meet the guys, and the girls want to meet the girls. They can do that too. I don't care. I just want y'all to have fun and be discreet about it. And cool. I don't want to see no arguing. I don't want the fighting and all that crazy stuff and the stuff to linger on. No, have enjoy yourself. And so that's my thing. So downtown or any business, that's all they want. They want you to just enjoy yourself. They don't want all the drama, you know what I mean? Like, and they don't want, okay, we get into it tonight in the club. That shouldn't last 30 years and our family's going to war. Like, okay, I was drunk, you was drunk, you know what, man, I love you too, man, keep it moving. Like, you know what I mean? Sometimes the boys, just, when you was kids, you fight, little brother or sister, next thing you know, y'all playing again. Here, now people just linger and they just hold grudges for so long. And half the grudges, like people still mad at each other from high school. Like, you been out like 10, 20 years. What are you mad at? Like, oh, he took my girlfriend or she took my, like, who cares? You know what I mean? You don't even like your girlfriend or boyfriend no more, like with that person. You know what I mean? So it's just, the grudges be killing us, and our pride really holds our whole culture back.
I definitely agree with that. It makes me think of, like, I'm kind of sitting there really trying to think, like, why is Buffalo like that? It's like, it keeps coming back to me, it's food. Like, our food is so good, we get cozy, we get this.
It definitely is, definitely.
It's like we get our routines and all that, man.
But if you see people when we go out of town, like we went to, we went to Houston last year for the Bills game. Man, like Buffalo had Houston lit. Mm-hmm. It was crazy, and it's like, man, like, and it was not an issue, not an argument. And I'm talking about my party, Wire, OJ, E. Ross. Like everybody ate, everybody did well. It was like, why we gotta go to another city and spend money in their situations to have the same amount of energy and fun and celebration? You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes it baffles me.
I definitely get that.
I think with that perspective, because the people who are able to travel to those events have a certain level of class or appreciation.
They don't.
But they have a certain level of appreciation for shit that's going on. So
they don't.
Gonna actively like
they don't, because everybody travels. Like you'd be surprised. Like every trip I had, half the people sometimes their first trip or they never been to these places, so they experience it. We all experience it together. And so the thing is, when you go out of town, you're not comfortable. So here you're comfortable. And so anytime the first time I throw an event, I know ain't nothing gonna happen. I ain't gotta worry about it, because they don't know where to go. They don't know where to hide at. They don't know what to do. They trying to figure out what's this about. As soon as people get comfortable, they start doing dumb stuff because they're comfortable. They feel like they
gotta keep them on their toes.
Yeah, like they feel like like I don't know. It's just they know the vibe, they know everything, and so I just feel like here sometimes you just don't respect the work that everybody put in because it's comfortable. It look easy. Like sometimes what you do, like the podcast, y'all know the strength. Y'all know how hard it is to do a podcast, keep it consistent.
Mm-hmm. So
a lot of people think that shit easy. It ain't, you know what I mean? Oh, I start my own podcast. We'll start it. And then you see they don't have 1 or 2 episodes. It's a wrap. Yeah, like it's
2 episodes. Hope you collab with us.
It's hard, man. Like,
get to 20.
And I don't think a lot of people appreciate, especially people who haven't done it. That's why you see so much complaining. You really don't see a lot of complaining by people who actually done it. They don't.
No, that's a fact. I think both things play a part. Because I mean, unless specifically you're aware of like the fact that, all right, I seen this person in Buffalo and they're after the damn food. Now I see them in this place and they're perfectly fine.
I do see it.
Okay, man.
Well, you gotta remember, I'm an owner, so
yeah.
I owned the Oakk Room for 14 years. Obviously, the Oakk House is new. I've been doing these parties for whatever. And then two, a lot of these people I taught. Either I taught them or I was with their parents and vice versa, you know what I mean? I see the kids act just like their parents, you know what I mean? So I see people, and I've seen it in the Oakk Room, where they come in the Oakk Room and they know it's me or they know it's Kirk and they'll follow the rules. Soon as they leave, they see that person is on. I literally seen this, and people have told them, like, yo, man, we ain't gonna act up in here. But the other spot, man, I don't really care about them like that. And so it's respect, but it's a mentality too, you know what I mean? So, like, it's just, come on, man. Like, I don't care what business it is, don't get shut down over that stuff. Now, y'all got murder beef. To me, y'all shouldn't be outside. You know what I mean? That's another thing, you know what I mean? If you got those type of issues, you know. I'll give you a funny story, man. We was at the Oakk Room, was popping, and a girl comes to me like, yo, there's a girl here, I got to order protection for her. I just wanted to let you know. I kicked them both out. Davy's mad as hell. She's like, well, we ain't do nothing. I'm like, listen, I'm going to be proactive to the reactive. I'd rather y'all be mad at me now than y'all tear up my shit. And so now, next time y'all come in or whatever, you know, it's a respect thing. Like, to me, I'm not going to sit there and wait for y'all to get drunk. Now your friends is egging your friends on because they keep looking at each other. The Oakk Room is small. You're going to bump each other, and the girl will hit the shoulder, and next thing you know, it's a big brawl. Like, why should I wait for that? And now why do I got to sit here for my next 2 hours and watch y'all two? People don't understand that, and they was pissed. But now we didn't have an issue that night, and nobody knew what happened. Nobody ever knew that, you know, why we kicked them out or whatever. They didn't even see us kick them out, you know what I mean, or ask them to leave. It's just being proactive and, you know what I mean, take yourself. Like, if I get into a situation, I'm going home. I'm not sitting there for 2 hours looking at you. I'm out. I don't want that problems.
Definitely do that. You want to jump in the top 5?
Yeah. So
I want to know the top 5 movies.
All right, so we got a top 5 segment, right? Mm-hmm. So because of what Nelson just said, we're gonna have 2 top 5 segments.
Okay, let's do it.
I have so the first is, because you said you like balance and have like a lot of times, right? You have a lot of different things that you're into as well as like raising a family. So what are like the 5 things that keep you like balanced and bring a sense of harmony and peace to your life to where you can delegate these things properly and like move in an intention like you plan to?
So the first thing is my wife. Like, to me, once you get married, you have a partner, and so they should be your comfort. They should be your everything. And for me, that's my comfort. When I get home, she don't really care about the party. She don't care about what happened. She don't care. Like, I hooped the other day. She ain't, did y'all? Okay, good. Okay, cool. Like, she didn't care. Like, you know what I mean? And so that kind of allows me to digest from everything else. So, and then when we travel, we have fun. That's my road dog. So that's one thing. And two, you know, you gotta hold your other end to the relationship. The second is honestly making my mother, my wife, and my daughter proud. To me, if I do those things on a consistent basis, then everything falls in place. Like, to me, I'm one of the people, I do care what people think. I do, you know, care about people's opinions. So I don't like disappointing people. Now, don't get me wrong, I can't make everybody happy. So people probably not happy with me now. That's cool. That's like, but I need those 3 people to be happy and proud of me. And those things, if I walk in that path, then that makes me make good decisions when I'm outside. So next is just being consistent in everything I do. My word is, for me, is important. If I say I'm gonna do something, I try to do it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm supposed to be here at a certain time. I'm gonna try to be here at one time, show up, and do what I say I'm gonna do. Next is just, at the end of the day, I want to have a legacy. When I pass or when I'm gone, I want people to say my name and it means something. You know, it won't be just, oh, yeah, he did this, whatever. Like, you know what I mean? I know some people, you see him, like, yo, he didn't graduate. You know what I mean? I want, when you say my name, I want it to be said with some type of, you know,
carry some weight.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And I feel like I have achieved that so far, but I feel like I still got a long way to go. And then one more thing. I don't know, just have a good quality of life, bro. That's it. If you can have a good quality of life, being able to, you know, I like, you know, having a nice car, so I want to have a nice car. Obviously, have a nice house. Just, you know, enjoy life, man. So.
And then the second one. Who are your top 5 Buffalo Hoopers?
Top 5 Buffalo Hoopers.
All time.
All time. So I gotta go with Richie Campbell. I don't know if y'all seen him play or got a chance.
Yeah, we know what you're saying.
If you ever seen him play, it was something special. So he's Richie. I'm gonna go with Trev Ruffin. I got a chance. Actually, I got a chance to play with both of them before. Obviously, they was in college and then Trev Pro and all that type of stuff.
I worked with him at a health center.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you know, he Trev.
I just learned about it. Like they told me, I'm like the last day of school. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, that dude was something special. Jason Rowe, who was my guy, we grew up together, man. He was one of the best. This is a tough one, man. You know what? I gotta go with Turner Carroll. I gotta go with Damone James. Y'all might not know about Damone, but Damone, man, was so dope. He wanted to get a shout to go to Canisius too, but man, that dude can hoop, man. He was dope. And I'm gonna stick with Turner Carroll. I'm gonna go Malik Campbell. Malik was everything, man. You could do everything, and obviously the personal friend too, so I'm a little biased. Malik was everything. So, and it's kind of hard to put a list together of five because I was in that era too. But those five, I'll take those five, and I feel like we can win some games. We win some money.
Nah, that's dope. And that's one of the things that like I miss about Buffalo is like the basketball culture around it. We had the AAU teams, the Gusmackers, just like those events and like how much it brought the city together.
It did, man. I was part of the Randy Smith leagues and stuff, and that's honestly where I made my name at. Like I could still like I was going to Juneteenth and I parked by the Corp all the time, and they took the bleachers down and stuff. I'm just looking at it like I'm almost crying because I'm like, man, this was it. Like, you know what I mean? And I remember me shaking somebody like MrDWilson, like, you know what I mean? And so everybody had something, you know what I mean? And honestly, y'all younger than me. I hate that y'all missed that part because y'all didn't get a chance to really see Randy Smith. Like when I broke my leg, literally the only thing I had was somebody, my mom or whatever, dropped me off at the park, and I just watched the games. And it was everybody played. Trev, Rowe, all of them. You know what I mean? You had Byrne and Dewey Street and all. You know, you had every neighborhood had these teams and everything. And Jamar Corbett dunking on people, man. You know what I mean? So it was amazing, and just to be up to games and it was electricity, and it was never no issues for the most part. You know what I mean? Got the boy on the mic, man, talking. You know, it was great. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna ever get that back.
Well, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed.
We don't hoop outside no more.
It's crazy.
Outside is dead.
We used to go to literally. We would pull up with our five to any court in the. I ain't even just say the city, the suburb. We would pull up to shoot the water. Yo, we would pull them up. We got our joint, our basketball in the car. Like we might even have our hooping sneakers on. We hooping. You know what I mean? Like I probably played at every court in the county. You know what I mean? Like, man, we would travel for Gusmackers and stuff like that, man. Like it was just
blowing up the hood you shouldn't be in playing basketball.
Yeah,
it's whatever. We hooping. I like that no more.
We also have a third eye segment where we talk about just like spirituality, unconventional truths, unpopular opinions, stuff like that. Being a party promoter, you get to you show this. There's an allure to it. You know what I'm saying? There's the lights, the glamour, and all that stuff. Dante, he kind of brought that to your attention. Was there ever a time where you almost got like lost in the lights and the glamour of it all?
Not really. I mean, I went through some relationship stuff. Like me and my daughter's mother was going through our relationship stuff, and it was probably a little bit prior to me actually starting to promote. But she kind of helped me because she was the one who built my websites and stuff, and she helped me create the. I don't know if you want to call it moniker MrDWilson, but she helped me create that brand. But we was kind of going through our relationship stuff anyway, so I can't say I got lost in it. Do you get to a point where you feel like, like you the man and all that? Yeah, to a point, but I felt like one thing that balanced me was I worked. I had a job, like so every Monday through Friday, I don't care what was going on the weekend. Like I had to go and I had to do lesson plans. I had to, show up. You know what I mean? I had to be, I wouldn't wear shirt and ties, but you have to be dressed accordingly. You have to. Your hygiene and all that other stuff. So it keeps you on point when you have a job. And I didn't say job, I had a career. So I have a career, so I had to be on point. So I couldn't get too full of myself because when you get to the kids, they don't care about nothing you do. You know what I mean? So yeah, we just came back from New York City. We had 120 in the club. So like they don't care. Like it doesn't matter to them. Like, you know what I mean? So that kind of keeps you humble and keep you in pace.
For sure. I remember I worked with an artist named Mother Genius, and we
Oh, she dope as that. I love her.
Yeah, we had a show at SOB's, like New York, super legendary spot. Like me and we running the show. So I'm talking about I get off work, drive down to New York City, do the show, drive back, and teaching the next day. I'm in there dead time. Kids, they do not care. They do not care. But one question too was just like in terms of just like the glamour that we're talking about. I noticed you got the Ray-Ban.
Yeah,
Ray-Ban.
I love these joints, man.
How is that?
They're good until they keep ringing. But no, I like them. I got them back in February or whatever. I like them, man. You know, just being able to, you know, hear and, you know, just be able to answer the phone. Like me and my wife have a content creation studio, photography content creation studio. So sometimes we go in there to clean up. And like, you know, you try to hold the phone with your ear, like, nah, man, I got the glasses on so I can just do whatever I want to do. And so I like that portion of it. I don't really use the pictures and video that much.
Okay.
I took a couple pictures because I could at one point, but I don't really use it that much.
Yeah, because my question was, does it have that spatial reality aspect to it? You remember Pokemon Go?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know nothing about that.
So Pokemon Go is basically it was like an app on your phone. It was like a game people were playing, but people were using their camera, and they would be like little Pokemon, let's say at the Oakk Park.
Oh, yeah, see, that ain't my world. So, like, even my cell phone, man, I don't use all of the features, you know what I mean? Like, some people do, but, you know, you find what you like, and then you use it. Now, like me, I gotta use my calendar, so this year I'm looking at the calendar, like, okay, does she put notes where this is at? Because I'm outside, you know? So I use the calendar a lot, you know, there's certain features I use a lot, and then obviously the graphic designer, so certain technologies I use, but I read about some of the stuff, like they'll read for you and all that crazy stuff, but I don't use them.
Okay.
Being a graphic designer, have you got into any of the AI tools yet?
Yes, a little bit. Adobe Express has a lot of AI stuff, so I've been using that a little bit. Some of it, I'm still creative, so sometimes I'm like, man, I don't want to cheat. You know what I mean? But ChatGPT I use a lot, obviously, for text and for ideas. I just did this brunch event. I don't know if y'all heard about the ultimate brunch, but we had the trap brunch, the gospel brunch, and the R&B brunch at the same time. So I use ChatGPT to help me plan that out and execute it, especially for the financial portion, because when you're trying to feed 500 people, you know, it's expensive, and you got to figure out what works and everything. So I used AI and I've been telling people, use it to enhance what you do. If you use it to replace what you do, you're in trouble. But if it enhance, so I've been using it to enhance what I do in concepts and learning from other areas, because we take a lot of stuff from other areas and bring it here. But obviously, when you bring it here, I can't take something from Toronto and bring it here, because Toronto has 3-4 million people. We might have 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is. So I got to tone it down, but you know, you'll be able to kind of use those technologies to help you transition.
Yes.
And just for the third eye segment, we noticed that you went from an Oakk Room to an Oakk House. You know what I'm saying? In that expansion, how intentional is it for you to create these black spaces in particular?
For me, it's intentional. Like, there's so many black people who create barriers of why they can't do stuff, or why they can't support this, or they can't go here. And so to try to create a space for people that don't understand, not saying I don't understand, but our culture is our culture. You know what I mean? Like, what I know in Buffalo, like, if it's an African American who own the business, sometimes white people just don't go just because. So for me to try to figure that part out, that's a hard thing to figure out, that people ain't figured out in 50, 60 years. So instead of me battling that problem, I can try to figure out why such and such won't come, and I can try to work with them. So, and then too, like, man, I'm a representation of us. So, like, I like our culture. I like, you know, stuff that we can improve on, of course. But, you know, it's just certain things you understand. Just like my wife, like we're around the same age, so we understand certain things. We do certain things. We like certain things. You know what I mean? And so we have a lot of similarities when it comes to that. And maybe if I married somebody from a different culture, it wouldn't be that same thing because it's culture shock at certain times. You know what I mean? I go to bed late sometimes. You know, you got cultures that they eat dinner at 6, go to bed 7, 8, 9. That ain't me. Never been. You know what I mean? I could never probably adjust that. Like,
Are there any plans or maybe potential to incorporate like the local music scene more, as far as like any performances or throwing events? Because that's one of the things that we talk about often on here is that the nightlife scene in Buffalo doesn't allow for the hip hop and R&B scene to really like be prevalent or have places where people actually want to go to that they can perform, other than like the Milkies or other places that really aren't that aesthetically pleasing to where people actually want to show up and support those artists.
I feel like that's a catch-22 because there's a lot of baggage that come with that. And me being a former artist, and then we transitioned out of the artistry, and two, when we was doing the high school parties, we allowed people to perform. We had showcases or whatever. And it was a little different time. But now I feel like one, the artists don't develop their followings. They feel like as soon as they turn on the camera or turn on the mic that they're the star. But you have to build those things up. You have to build your followings. And I even equate with the fashion world, same thing. Like a model, they just think they're supposed to be Tyra Banks. And like, no, you have to build up your following. And I feel like a lot of the artists don't build up their following. And if they did, then to me, you create your own shows. But you going into somebody else's show trying to dictate or whatever. So for me, I have bands that play, but as far as artistry, it's tough because if I got 1,000 people and 975 don't know your music, how can I stop my event to let them listen to your music that may make them leave? So that's why artists have to build up their followings and build up their songs so people heard their song. You know what I mean? It's hard for me to have somebody perform and nobody heard you before in an event that's taking care of my family. So for me, I have an event, like I got Miami Nights. There's 2,000 people here. They ain't come here to hear something that they didn't hear before. You know what I mean? So if it is somebody who's gonna perform, it has to be very special. And that's the hard part because a lot of artists don't understand that. So, and two, it has to fit the target. For me, for example, I have artists that hit me like, can I perform? Like, and we don't really do those because I understand what it is. Like, it has to fit. The Black Party I do presidential in Niagara Falls in November. Rod Bonner, I'm pretty sure you know Rod. Rod handles all the music and everything. So they do the band. He has singers that come in. They do a lot of covers. They do some original stuff, but that's more band oriented. But the hip hop is tough because one, it's hard to understand, especially for the older crowd or even any crowd if you don't know the songs. You know what I mean? So to me, they have to create their own. I feel like when we were the artists, we created our own shows. We created our own ecosystem, and I don't feel like they put the work in to do that. I just feel like everybody want to be a star. They just want to be on Instagram and get girls as opposed to the art and everything that go with it.
But the cart before the horse.
Yeah.
I'd say that's 95% of the artists for sure, so I agree with you. But what about the ones who do have that following or can actually bring people to those doors? Because there are a select few.
Who though?
I mean, you got Love.
Love can do whatever she want though. Like that's on her what she want to do. Like to me, she's different because when you think of her, like I'm thinking of Conway Benny. Like she reached a certain plateau already. You know what I mean? So to me, if she can do whatever, she can create her own. She has been creating her own. So she's different than I'm gonna say. I wouldn't even put her in that category of people. But now, like for example, Love music wouldn't work in a party atmosphere because most of her stuff isn't party formatted. You know what I mean? But she can create her own show and just go on and do what they do. But most artists ain't on her level. Like you know what I mean? Like her professionalism, she's a national recording artist. Like, let's be honest. You know what I mean? She's literally one step away from being, whatever it is, whatever that music industry success model is. So for her, it's different. But beside, like the other ones, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like
there's like the Neff Ali's who every time he performs, he brings out a crowd. He's been performing for 5 to 10 years. You got like Billy Esco as well.
Yeah,
years.
I I know him from clothes though. I didn't know he do music. So, but I know he brings. But he got OJ and all them, so he's tapped into all those guys. So, you know what I mean.
It's definitely some good acts. Definitely good acts.
And then too, I'm older too, so like for me, like I'm not.
Yeah, that's why I'm naming people. So it's like you could be more aware of them.
Aware of
put you on.
But I know Billy, he cool dude, I love him, guy. The Neff Ali, I don't know. I heard the name before. But I can't say I've ever seen him perform or whatever, so I don't even know what his music he do either. So.
Can you, like, being a business owner, a black business owner in Buffalo for so long, can you name some of your favorite like black businesses in Buffalo?
Man, Doris Records. Like, you know, since 1962. And two, a lot of people, man, I want to encourage people to keep going to Doris Records. Whether it's getting your tickets, whether it's getting some music, whatever it is, keep going because these icons of places don't last forever. So since 1962, and to be able to kind of continue in our neighborhood, a lot of times people take that for granted, and that's a hard thing to do. Some of the restaurants, I mean, obviously Sunshine Vegan Eats, Chef Nikki, she's so dope, man. You got Cake Crazy Bakery, Shatisse. She's super dope. I don't know if y'all know Cake Crazy, but her bakery is phenomenal. Her stuff is in Wegmans. Black business, and then I can go on and on and on. Who else got? All the promoters, man. Like I love all the promoters. You know, Happy Entertainment, Stage One, which is Ryan, who does the big concert. I don't think he did anything in a while, but me and him kind of working on something big. Lindsay with the Boflo stuff, man. You know, he going crazy, and obviously OJJ Moore, Coles, Spin, Orlando. Like, it's a lot of people who do a lot of great things. Kiata, I want to say her name wrong. I'm gonna say Kia White. She has the bright white cleaning. I think she just launched like a cleaning product, so it's just dope. So you know, getting into different spaces. So it's a lot. I'll have to. Aisha, she got the security company. My guy Cat, the lockdown security. Man, so many people. Some of my mentors, Bellamy, Bellamy Enterprises. They do the Black Achievers every year. Their family has been one of the top African American families probably for the last 30, 40 years, maybe even longer. So he's one of my mentors. My man Chris Del Prince, he ain't black, he's Italian, but Chris Del Prince is my guy. He used to own all the clothing stores here, but he's one of my mentors and one of the people I look to a lot to help me go to the next level. So it's a lot, man. It's a lot.
Absolutely. My last question is just being a teacher for, you said about 25 years?
It's about 26.
Being a teacher for 26 years, what would you say to a newly starting teacher? What advice would you give to them?
Stick with it, man. Like, obviously, the good thing about teaching, it allows you off weekends, holidays, and summers. So it gives you a lot of time to be an entrepreneur and do all the other things. So let it feed your passion. And then too, there's a lot of avenues within teaching to make a lot of extra money. So a lot of the after school stuff, you can do this stuff within your, I don't know what you teach or you know what field you're in, but you can incorporate everything you do into the teaching aspect. And too, like I taught history for a long time, and then I transitioned to print and graphics. When I first started, I didn't know print and graphics was an option. So now I got a chance to go on the other side and print stuff, and this is what I do normally. So going to work for me is easy now. You know, the hard part is just waking up and ain't even getting there. Like, it's just being there because I do what I love to do. So the promotions and all that stuff, I can do it at work. I can show the kids how to do it. So for me, that's fun. So there is a fun side to it. There's another side to it. The first couple of years, it's tough, especially with the money. Also, if you're not certified, get your certification so that way you can get to the bag. Because when you're young, a lot of times you just take for granted that you know, okay, when I get older, I'll take care of that. But you have to start investing now. I don't know if y'all investing, but invest, you know what I mean? Whether it's 5%, 10%, put that away, you know, whether it's in some stocks or something, some IRAs or whatever, you got some financial advice, but by the time you my age, you're gonna be sitting right, and now you can do whatever you wanna do. And I feel like I'm still young, where I can still do everything y'all do or whatever. Obviously, I can't run as fast, jump as high, but at the same time, like, man, I can do anything I wanna do within reason. And I put myself in a position to when I retire. Like I'm literally gonna be. When I retire, I'm gonna live better than I did when I was working. You know what I mean? And the only thing that can stop that is health. You know what I mean? Obviously you can't. You know, and that's I'm trying to eat healthier, but I can't. You know, certain stuff that you can't plan for. But regardless of health, I should have a way better quality of life. And I'm married, so we should be able to travel, do whatever we want to do, and do parties, do events. I can curate whatever I want to do.
No, that's a appreciation.
Definitely.
Any other questions?
No, I'm good. You got anything else you wanna?
Oh yeah, Miami Nights, man. We got the Miami Nights coming up next week. This is the 15th year, so 15 years is a long time. You kind of look back and say, well, what was I doing 15 years ago? Like I'm pretty sure y'all were different people 15 years ago. So to have an event to evolve, we're gonna have over 2,000 people. We get people from Rochester, Toronto, Syracuse, Cleveland, Erie a lot, and it's something that's been growing and is amazing, honestly. One of the things for my events is always it has multiple areas of entertainment. So you got the patio vibes, which is the patio is a whole different world. We got the cigar, nice ass cigar from they come out and they do the cigar, the rolling and everything. Inside we have the guys from Rochester, JK and Big Red, and then we have Rocky B hosting. Rocky B is one of the dopest hosts you'll ever see. I don't know if you know her from Rochester, but she's the top host out in Rochester. And she's probably gonna be the next one that's going, whether it be TV or radio, that's gonna go bananas. And then we have the VIP room. We got some DJs, Illmatic and Tone in there. We got Spinning Road, with my guys. We grew up together, and they got the patio lot. It's insane, but it's amazing. If you haven't seen it, I'll be telling people about it. They be like, okay, whatever. But then once they see it, it's a whole different. To see 2,000, and it's an African American. It'd be mixed, but it'd be mostly African American crowd. 2,000 people really on the same page, dressed to a T, because people really go out with the dress. Obviously it's all white, so you really got it. It's hard, especially for men. It's hard to find something all white that's different and unique. You know what I mean? So it's a challenge that people do, and people look forward to this every year. And people literally start calling me in January, like, yo, can I wear this? Can I do this? You know what I mean? And so we have a lot going on with that, and that's amongst other events. We got actually next week after the party, I'm announced the stuff I'm doing for the Bills game. Charlotte got a big collaboration going on. We're doing every day in Charlotte, so Charlotte's gonna go crazy. We got the Black Party in November, and then we got the Pink Party that is in August over at Templeton Landing. Usually last year we had about 900 people for that, so this year we probably do around the same, maybe 1,000, and that's always amazing on the water. So we got a lot of good stuff coming up, and then obviously the OAKK House every Friday and Saturday night is dope. So hopefully one day we can get the podcast and shoot from there.
Hey,
that'd be something
sure.
dope.
We can talk about that after this.
Yeah, we can definitely do that. And to me, just that might be the segue for that younger audience, because obviously I'm the owner. I don't need to be in there. I don't need to be all of it. You know what I mean? So it's for us. We just got to make sure we take care of it.
Absolutely, sir. We definitely appreciate you stopping through, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. I love this, man. It's dope, man. Y'all boys keep doing what y'all do and keep staying consistent, because we found it, obviously. So yeah. I've seen the clips, man. It's dope.
We're here for the long run.
Appreciate it, man. Where can everybody find you? Just on socials, website, all that?
So my website is MrDWilson.com, MrDWilson.com. You can find everything about all my events, my bio, my background, all the businesses I own on there. You can also find the OAKKHaus.com. That's OAKK HAUS.com. You can find everything that's going on at the Oakk House. You can contact us, and then find our social media at MrDWilson. I answer all my DMs. I answer all my calls. If you hit me, I'm gonna hit you back. If you ask me a question, I'm gonna answer your question to the best of my ability. You might not like to answer it just because I'm gonna be truthful, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna try to do the best I can. And if I can help you, I will. That's my vibe, and that's my hopefully God-given thing, is to be able to connect people and to help people have a good quality of life.
Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir.
Don't label the pod. We out.
Peace.
Out to the paper, the grass is always greener. I don't do no labels, I call it how I see it.